Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be finishing What the Internet Did to Garfield by Super Eyepatch Wolf. This is going to realistically end with me on the ground sobbing in the Yamcha pose. That's it. That's basically all my take on this entire thing right now. I'm doing this willingly. I'm reminding myself because I need to. And if people would in the comment maybe remind me of that as well, I might do the next one because people have said there's more that are just as fucked up. I'm doing this willingly. I'm doing this willingly. I'm doing this willingly. And as long as I keep telling myself that, I might believe it. Okay. So yeah, before I talk myself out of it and maybe do something safe like bungee jump without a bungee, let's just jump into this, see what happens. You know, that's probably the wrong choice of words in hindsight, but screw it, let's do it.
The second type of Garfield horror is more intimate and psychological. Here it's less that Garfield is a physical threat as much as it is the subtle, insidious damage he's doing to John's mental state. Sometimes in the form of an awful, malicious creature who constantly follows John and goads him, driving him to do terrible things.
Oh, where John becomes the monster.
As a delusional presence in John's own mind, a manifestation of his internal struggles, be they
why am I going back to see? Too far. Oh god, it's John and where the cat and the manifestation. Stop it. Bugs are everywhere. Scratch
of his internal struggles, be they depression, addiction, or worse. In a way that feels similar to your Shinings, your Silent Hills, or reading your own comment section. These pieces are much.
You know what, I'm about to do something very different. I'm going to actually engage in reading a comment section. Technically it's in the video, so it doesn't count. But okay, thank God he blurred it, but oh yeah, no, I recognize some of these comments. How many people just went on entire tangents about horrible things that he probably did? Never mind, I already know my answer to that one.
These pieces are much rarer, but what I think's awesome about them is how they take that bleakness that's always been a part of John's character and express it through Garfield. There is a third type of Garfield horror, and these are my personal favorite. Posts that focus on a more existential form of terror. The simplest examples of this are pieces that trap John in these impossible and infinite liminal spaces where there is no escape and he will forever.
Okay, one, I absolutely love this kind of art and I completely agree with him. This is so freaking cool because it's probably the most creative thing I can imagine because it takes your brain and bends it in ways that you don't expect, where the grand horror we saw before is just terrifying as fuck, but frankly, there's a lot of examples you can draw from. This, though, is hard to think of in the first place because we don't think in ways that bend like this. Even the room bending itself shows that things aren't normal, and then you just see the no face over here, the backside over here, the front and the back, and just... Again, it's a bent space, and you could see that happening, and just... There's very few things that show this well. One of them is actually the Silent Hill demo, which I accidentally played and streamed and regret every second of because that thing was batshit terrifying. It was just a demo.
Ever be haunted by Garfield, but other scenarios are more elaborate, like when even death itself can't release John from Garfield's grasp, showing Garfield as this immortal, unending being who will always return to plague John, or even the opposite, like in this one comic where John takes his own life to escape Garfield, only to be brought back to life by him so his suffering can continue. Other pieces are stranger and even more abstract, like showing Garfield as these grotesque physical parasites that have attached themselves to John and are feeding off him, while he is trapped in these strange, unending dream worlds.
The weirdest part here is that these guys, the eyes are completely normal for the comic. Also, the potato has eyes. And it's also Garfield face. But it's not actually edited nearly that much, considering some of the parts they brought over aren't that crazy. And yeah, I see the entire John is the turkey, Garfield's the father in this one, but Norman Rockwell stuff, why is it so easy to make his stuff creepy?
And I think where this particular kind of horror gets really powerful is when it's combined with the more psychological type of Garfield horror we just talked about. Like Lumpy Touch's Relax John, which we mentioned earlier. And what I think is so great about this animation is it shows
there's an entire
John
animation
home late one night at his most broken, his life now destroyed, having lost his job, Liz, and even Odie.
Oh!
And it's at this point when he's at his absolute lowest that he is most vulnerable to a being like Garfield.
Oh no.
Who offers John an escape from his miserable existence in the form of comfort, but in reality drags him into a frightening nightmare. And
I'm just going to say this flat out for I know people are going to ask this. You know who you are. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not checking out this original video. I know my line. Oh no.
Love this so much because it is such a fantastic example of what Garfield has become on the internet. Garfield is despair. He's the part of John that makes him feel weak and insignificant, who pulls him down and traps him in realities dark and frightening. That is the core horror of Garfield and I'm Sorry, John. It's interesting to note that this concept has only continued to evolve online. In sub-communities like You're Welcome, John, which is a more wholesome, if still very disturbing relationship between John and a cosmically nightmarish
Also, I'm pretty sure that's a reference to the Never-Ending Story, but I could be mistaken.
Garfield, as well as I'm really sorry, John, which I cannot even talk about if this video has any hope of staying monetized. Hey, by the way.
There's worse! There's that little dark part of me that goes, you need to see that. And the rest of me is taking out pitchforks and actively stabbing that part of me to attempt to kill it, but unfortunately it's a part of me so it won't die. Oh God!
Wait, this video is nearly definitely going to be demonetized, and so I have a Patreon. There's one tier, it's $1, so yeah.
Neat.
But hey, look, either way.
I wonder if I should ever talk about mine again. I always forget about it.
You can see this very defined kind of Garfield horror being transplanted onto other fictional series with I'm Sorry John's occasional non-Garfield weekend.
The Simpsons is kind of pushing it because they kind of do that themselves every Halloween to some extent.
And while I really love these pieces,
I have no idea what that is.
How do I look? With your eyes, Bert.
No.
With your eyes. God, that's so good. I think it's interesting how, at least to
Peppa
me,
the Pig.
they never quite carry the same level of impact or meaning as those based on Garfield. Not only because of how
it works better with the actual
rooted
source.
The horror of I'm Sorry, John is in the very core of Garfield, but also in how when taken with everything else we've talked about today, these pieces begin to
Really? Evangelion? They put Garfield on Lilith? Oh my, I'm an Evangelion fan, mostly because I just find it funny. And also I like the robots, because the robots are awesome. I'm easily
what these characters are.
Oh God!
And in particular, John Arbuckle. When I started this video, all John was this schlubby dude. But over time, that started to change. I watched him go from this character with a very defined purpose and reason for existing to someone who loses that purpose and becomes to the world around them a pathetic joke. And it's like that.
Which, I mean, when you take out the in-universe explanation and go to the actual explanation, it's like, yes, he is just a joke. He was meant as the stand-in for the creator, and now he's just the stand-in for a punchline about haha, he's useless, or haha, he's lame. He is the punchline himself, and everything else is just conveying to you he's unaware of it while we are, which is just dramatic irony, except played dumb, which actually works really well and I enjoyed. Hey, playing things smart isn't always the best choice.
That experience causes this deep emptiness to well up inside them.
It's funny how just changing how you look at something does change its entire meaning.
And impossible in a way that the Garfield comic can
not even changing
barely
the comic.
Contain. Till one day, that despair begins to manifest as Garfield. An entity that traps John in this deep and horrifying delusion, warping every part of his reality. This entity, with each passing day, growing stronger and more frightening.
And because it keeps going on and on, people are drawn to the original because of how they're drawn to the effed up version online too. So it is kind of feeding into it.
there's one artist in particular
What?
that comes to mind. Part of what makes Rajam's work so powerful and frightening. Part of what makes Rajam's work so powerful and frightening is how intimately they seem.
Okay, just a personal thing. The edit he's doing right now with the bars that occasionally pop up. See if I can pull one up. It should be any second now. I'm too lazy to pull it up. Basically, he has little bars coming up every now and again. And,
part of what makes Rajam's work,
like that little jump right there, and you see that distortion at the top, and it'll jump down to here in a second or two. Yeah, this one right here. I get what he's doing. It's the found footage effect, making it look like he's showing you a documentary that was just recovered, which is honestly kind of funny to me because, of course, it's just a drawing in that he put into this. But it's a nice little effect. It gives it more depth to the actual image, and it's something being used a lot in documentary style creations. That said, I hate it. Personal opinion. I know he's using it. I think he's using it well, and I think it's being well done, and this is the right place to do it. I just personally don't like visual distortions like this when they're so blatant and the source material isn't from a video. I know that's weird considering this has been the entire video. Just going to throw it out there now. I don't like this edit. It's very much a personal thing. Even though I fully acknowledge he's doing it well, I just don't like it.
Full and frightening is how intimately they seem to understand each particular kind of Garfield horror. Some pieces show Garfield as these massive, monstrous beasts,
and the ribs are holding other people.
Mere existence conveys this horrifying.
Oh, it's all teeth and eyes.
Others show Garfield as this gargantuan and grotesque parasite, as this insidious force that's been with John since the moment he was born, and for years has manipulated and contorted every part of his life.
Oh, he's literally puppeting that one.
John, until finally, Garfield has grown so powerful that he's now more a god than anything else. So
they're literally doing Adam from the Sistine Chapel.
Terrifying that he's become John's entire reality, and John, now just a speck of dust, hopeless and terrified in the face of this thing that he created till the end of time. And I think there's something really powerful about these images. The beautiful thing about horror is it lets us externalize the things that haunt us. And when I look at the work of Omega Black or Lumpy Touch or Rajam, what I see is a person struggling. Someone whose existence stopped making sense a long time ago and who's just trapped in this horrifying distortion of what their life should be. And I think there's something very human about that.
Huh.
When I think back to the very worst periods of my life, what comes to me is this feeling of...
Really? For a second there, I thought he was going straight on, but he just... This is going to sound really weird considering this is literally a video about Garfield. Even with all the build-up work that's been done, him in the Garfield suit removes any tension from what he's saying. And even if he's talking about something serious, the fact that he has the Garfield suit on, even if it was just the hood removed, would take a lot of that tension out. But the fact that he has that on, he has to know. He definitely knows. There's no way he doesn't know. It shoots any tension he has in the foot. Granted, also fits because it's showing he's consumed by Garfield while talking about horrible, horrible things.
Being trapped in my own mind, that there is something in me that is distorting how I see the world and the people around me and everything, and it's horrible.
See, what he's talking about is serious. That is a legitimate thing and to be concerned about, and to show that type of awareness of a mental disconnect and seeing it represented through these comics is a great way to talk about it. And he just happens to be wearing this. Literally, just take the hood off and it wouldn't be nearly as bad. I get the symbolism, but it really does destroy the impact of what he's saying, which is literally very kind of relevant.
It's a nightmare. And I think the hardest part of it is the feeling that it's never going to end, that the way you feel in those moments is how you will feel for the rest of your life. And if you've ever struggled mentally or emotionally, you know that fear. And it is that fear that I've never seen visualized better than in fucking Garfield fan art.
And honestly, he's made a good point to that. I agree completely. I think it probably worked better if he had cosplayed John. Let's be honest, that would have been incredibly fucked up considering everything he just said, and it would have definitely hit the entire point of, see? This is fucked up. And it shows the existential terror. I know I'm stuck on this, but it really does shoot his meaning in the foot because it is ridiculous. In where everything he built up on John being hopeless and terrified and struggling would fit a lot better with what he's saying. I think he also just bought this, so he's going to do it anyways.
Want to be Garfield, but we all are John Arbuckle. And the thing is, those bad times, they do never last. They do.
They feel like they won't, though. And that is.
And I think that's why I find this final piece so hopeful.
Final piece?
The piece is done in Rajam's traditional pen and ink style.
What?
But with a subtlety that makes it feel nearly carved from stone. And it shows a demonic Garfield lying, defeated and broken, a sandaled foot pinning him to the ground, which belongs to an angelic John Arbuckle.
Honestly, I would not have got that.
Tears rolling down his face, his wings raised in this just glorious arc. And it's like, after everything we've watched John go through, after all the loneliness, the depression, the complete loss of his identity, leading to the dissolution of his reality into this infinite, abject nightmare, after all that, somehow, he's made it to this moment. He's taken his life back from the shit that haunts him, and it's fucking beautiful.
I would not have realized that was John, though, if he hadn't said it.
Maybe this won't last. Maybe there's still darker times ahead. But it doesn't matter. Because in this moment, he's okay. John's okay. And look, I get it. I get that having this strong an emotional reaction to what is most certainly a Garfield shitpost is ridiculous. But goddamn, that is what I do here. I take my hope where I can get it.
Nice.
The title of this piece being The Forgiveness of John. Oh, I put the costume back on because I was worried that this part might be too heavy without it.
No, it really wasn't. You were perfectly in line. You built up to it. If you had started with the costume like you had and then left it on, it would have been weirder. Honestly, I kind of wish you had put on the blue shirt like John. That would have actually been way more fucked up in hindsight, and it's a bit of fridge horror.
And also, I paid a lot of money for it. What makes the forgiveness?
I have a very fucked up thing. I'm just going to look up quickly. Okay, so apparently, I'm assuming this is the version he has right here because it has the little punch that he had in the costume. That's a $50 costume he's wearing. I thought that was something you got out of the back of like some kind of going out of sale, Halloween's over, Spirit Halloween store that they threw out and no one could actually take. No, apparently that's an in-demand, expensive one. Okay, yeah, that is a thing. That is a thing. I don't even know. I don't. Oh, okay, wow. Yeah. I'm just gonna close that and forget I looked that up. That is disturbing.
Of John so powerful to me
was what the internet did to Garfield, and frankly that last part wasn't as fucked up as everything prior to that, but it was also still pretty damn fucked up. I liked it. I liked seeing where it went. I liked the conclusion he came to, and the fact that the big reveal at the end was that the most popular in the longest running, assuming, fucked up forum on Reddit was something good. I like that. I like the dramatic aspect to that. The fact that I then clarified that that cost $50 to buy that costume, and I'm just sitting here going, that is a very expensive bit, sir, for something I would never want to bring myself to wear again. Granted, because my office gets really freaking hot, and doing that would literally be counting as a form of not aliving. So that's probably different. More importantly, though, kinda, oh god, I'm actually saying this, want to see what else Super Eyepatch Wolf has to do. After all of this, I want that. You know, he was talking about mental disconnects and just feeling like your mind's in a filter. Apparently that's the filter for me. Oh god. Yeah. More importantly, I've been recommended to check out the Undertale one next, and sure, why not? Maybe that one, maybe something else, unless someone has a really good suggestion in the comments section, and we'll see where we go from here, because I kind of like how fucked up this is, while also being very freaked out by how fucked up this is. It's weird. I'm weird. I realize. Yeah. So if you haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Hit it up at your own risk, even though you literally just saw it, so do it again if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in whatever incredibly screwy pile of WTFery we do next week. That's not even a joke. That's probably just a statement of fact at this point. Oh, God. The tagline for this channel should be, watch me react to things I was not prepared for, and then regret multiple life choices. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know where to check out next. I'll see you guys then. Adios.